Hi there. My name is Jennifer, and I have been diagnosed with COVID-19. It started about 2.5 weeks ago, and I'm telling everybody my story so that you know what to look for, because they're not telling us everything. And being sick sucks. This is not the flu, and don't let anyone tell you differently. You may be lucky. You may be one of those, the few that, like my mother, who is asymptomatic mostly, and not in the condition I have been for the last 2 weeks. But I have been alive for over 50 years on this planet, and I have never felt this shitty in my life. And that's why I'm telling y'all this. And what I did. It started about, like I said, 2 weeks ago. With diarrhea. It wouldn't stop for a week. Even with the Imodium. Sick. Okay? Finally, that took hold. The Imodium finally worked. I doubled up on my Imodium just to get it to stop. And then the next thing was I started losing sense of smell and taste. And what smell you do get is weird. Okay? It's kind of, it'll be different for everyone, I'm sure. For me, it was like mealy old bread. Everything smelled and tasted the exact same. Mealy bread. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. Still is. uh, then I started getting the fevers. This flop sweats. You could be fine. You'd be sitting there and all of a sudden you're flop sweating and you're not hot. You're just flop sweating. And you're like, oh, yay. And then you're exhausted. It wipes you out. I literally soaked a pillow with flop sweat. We have a broken thermometer right now. It had a battery and I didn't have a new one. So I can't tell you what my temperature was. Sorry. I can tell you it was hot. I can tell you I was sweating. And it was bad. So, and then the coughing. It's a weird cough because it's like, oh, it's a dry cough, and then all of a sudden you get balls of phlegm. So dry cough, and then wet cough. And then dry cough, wet cough. And you're like, what the heck is going on here? And it feels like somebody has punched you right here in the chest. And you can't catch your breath. Because when you inhale too fast, it's like, ow, ow, okay? It sucks. My husband got concerned, like a good husband does, and took me to the hospital. I was extraordinarily dehydrated. They gave me 2 full bags of liquids. I was a mess. They were very nice, except for the fact that they kept me standing, waiting around, because they didn't want me with the rest of the people. So they didn't give me a chair for 3 hours. After the first hour and a half, I just sat on the floor because I just couldn't. I couldn't stay standing. I got so tired I wanted to die. They took me in. They took blood pressure, etc., so on. Then they put me back out and sitting, I finally said, I need a chair. Just, can someone get me a chair? And a lovely nurse did. I'm going to say I like nurses right now more than doctors. Um, 2 hours sitting in that chair with my husband not being allowed to stay with me almost made him crazy. Because I wasn't right. I didn't call. And then all of a sudden, my brain went, you need to tell him that you're still sitting here. He doesn't know. And I did. And some of our friends were all online and were all very worried. They talked to me because I was terrified. Being left in a hospital is one of the worst things you can do to a person mentally. They finally took me in. Like I said, gave me 2 full bottles of liquid. I can't even tell you what the liquid was, but it helped. And then they took my blood sugar, and this is something they really haven't been telling us. My blood sugar was over 300. Um, they gave me insulin, and not once, but twice, because it wasn't coming down. It took them 2 hours to get my blood sugar under control. And when I say under control, I mean it went from those are the coughs. It went from 350 to 285, and they thought that was good. For anyone who is a diabetic, you know that that's not good. But they don't tell you that your blood sugar is going to go all over the place. That's not in any of the info. So, the doctor came in looking at me like I was already dead. He was so bad at bedside manner, he didn't try to help me. I mean, I was terrified. And he gave me sad puppy dog eyes, and I don't need that. I need info. I need to know what the hell is going on with this craziness, and I needed you to be able to help me. And he wasn't there. That's, I saw him a grand total of twice, and he didn't want to be there. He had full PPE on, which is fine and great, and I want them to have it. But the nurses, I love you, nurses. Y'all are great. Okay? I had 2 different nurses, and finally the one just came in and said, well, do you want to sit in a room here in the hospital, or do you want to just go home and sit in a room there? Because that's pretty much all we can do for you. That's all you can do for me? Well, just go home and keep doing what you've been doing, is literally what I was told. What? That's not an answer. And that's not good. So I went home, and I should have. And if you have to go to the hospital and they offer you medicine for nausea, take it. Because the body aches, they gave me Motrin, liquid Motrin. They gave me a shot of it. It was the first time in days I hadn't hurt. But then that wears off, and they gave me nothing to take home. Nothing. Um, they, I had to call my husband to come get me. took me home. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what I did, because to be perfectly honest with you, I think some of the things I did may have saved me from some things. But don't do anything without checking with a doctor, because I am not a doctor. I just got flustered with these people not telling me anything. Okay? When I got home, I ached like a toothache. Surprise, surprise, they didn't give me anything. My mother also was sick, but she just had little aches. It was like what I was having, except light. Okay? And I was having, I guess I'm actually having the medium, because I didn't have to have tubes down my throat. I got to leave the hospital. Um, so, nauseum. I took, give me a second. I started out with Alka-Seltzer, which was good. Do not get me wrong. But first thing in the morning, okay, I can't tell you how much this stuff helped. All right. Um, this is was my first line of defense. Costco, they sell them in 3 packs. I highly recommend. All right. If you have more nauseum later on, Pepto-Bismol. It does the diarrhea. It does the nauseum. And I like the pills personally, because I hate the taste of Pepto-Bismol. Hate it. But these are a little lifesaver. So, but just remember, when you take Pepto-Bismol, your poop, when it does finally come out, it'll be dark. So don't let that freak you out. All right? Remember that. One of the other things, your body's going to ache. Get yourself some Motrin. Get yourself some Aleve. I highly recommend getting yourself some aspirin. And talk to your doctor about going on an aspirin regimen. Because one of the little nasty little side effects also, which they kind of tell you about, is blood clots. And you don't need that crap in your life. You just don't. Start taking at least 1 or 2 a day at different times of the day. Your legs, and this is something, again, they don't tell you. You have to look it up or have a friend that's a nurse. Your feet are going to hurt like somebody has broken your arch. They just hurt. Your feet hurt. Your legs hurt. And I'm going to tell you about this, because this is a lifesaver. It's called TheraWorks. It's a spray, and you just spray it on your legs. This has saved me, okay? There's also a product you can get on Amazon called Cramp 911 or 911 Cramp, whichever. It's a little sticky, but that works well too, okay? But you're gonna have to have something for the pain, because the body aches. Okay, think of the worst you've ever been sick, times it times 10, and then every so often, just for shits and giggles, your body's going to get hit with lightning. These painful, just shooting pain, and it doesn't stop, and you just want to cry and cry. You keep it under control, because all that crying fills up. You get congested, your head gets congested, you're a mess. It sucks. and you feel so scared the whole time. You're going to be terrified. It's bad. Okay? Now, your chest is going to hurt. You got goop in it. You got crap in it. You feel like you've got the flu on acid. Okay, I also took Mucinex. Yay, Mucinex. All right, it did amazing things for me. It kept me going. Yay me. Now, some some of us get headaches, and these you're stressed. Okay, let's not lie. Right here, you're just clenching your jaw. Your shoulders ache. All right, your head is pounding. This is one of the few things that help me. Okay, I I finally would get some sleep. I mean, you have to balance what you're doing. But these doctors aren't giving me anything. They didn't, I mean, am I just supposed to sit here and wallow in pain? And I mean, I've been a mess, an absolute mess. This is all trial and error. I mean, for me, it's just been bad. Um, One of the strange things, remember when I was told you about if they offer you nausea medicine, take it. Your stomach does this. It just like shimmers. And it makes everything just, you want to throw up, but you don't want to throw up. It's bad. Okay. I yet have not gotten the sore throat. Um, Shortness of breath, fatigue. Oh God, the fatigue. I've slept at some days 15 to 18 hours. Just out cold. For no good reason. I mean, I get up, I walk to the bathroom, and I'm tired. I've been asleep for 8 hours, and I'm exhausted walking to the bathroom. It's ridiculous. So, cut yourself some slack. You're going to be weak as a kitten, and that's just the way it is. Um, if your chest doesn't stop hurting, you need to go back to the hospital. It was one of the very few things one of the nurses told me that actually stuck in my brain. She said, make sure if your chest doesn't stop hurting to come back in. Okay. It took days for my chest not to hurt. Um, One of the other things that I'm going to recommend, and I'd like to give a big old shout out to my neighbor. Bless your heart, Karen. I love you. Um, she gave me a blood oxygen meter. All you gotta do is start it and turn it on. It starts, doing your thing. Right now I'm at 94, and my other thing is, I think my heartbeat's at 89. There are moments that I was at 80, and that's bad. And if you are at 80, you should probably go back to the hospital. Okay, these are a very handy little thing. Who would have thunk? Um, One of the other things that I automatically do when I'm sick, every time, is I take my vitamins. Um, I have vitamin B12. I get cramps in the legs, so I take a magnesium. And I take a regular multivitamin, and hair and nails. That's my regular thing. And a vitamin D. Make sure you take your vitamin D. Um, because nothing else is going to work in you if your vitamin D is off. Um, so there's that. Um, you got to cut yourself a lot of slack. Do not go out. I don't care if the president thinks it's okay after 3 days to go out. After I popped positive, my township contacted me, and every single day I have to fill out a form. My mother gets a phone call because she doesn't have a computer. And they give us, do you have fever and chills today? Did you have, blah, 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 blah. Did you have fatigue, muscle aches, body aches, vomiting? And they ask you the whole list. You have to, you have to check which ones you've got. And at the end of that, they told me, like, you don't, have you gone out? Because you're a vector now. And you cannot get other people sick. You don't. I have been spraying Lysol and using the bacterial wipes on everything because I don't want my husband to get this. And he's, thank God, not gotten it. So he's living with me, taking care of me, and yay him. Because without him, I'd probably be dead. And my neighbors have been absolute godsends. My neighbors have brought me food, from soups to chicken pot pies to chicken nuggets. Oh, those were so good. To chili, to tomato soups. I mean, you name it. My one neighbor has pretty much got everybody on board and taken care of me and my husband during this amazingly difficult time. And I've just got to say, I live on the best block ever. And this is what being part of a neighborhood really is. And I thank you guys. You've even given us Grubhub gift cards. You wonderful people. You're not going to be able, and this is a biggie, you're going to get tired taking showers. If you can, get one of those seats. I am lucky enough that I have a tub with a very thick wall, and I could just sit there and do a wash because you're sweating so much. I mean, you're going to have to change bless his heart, he's changing sheets like regularly. You're going to have to wash your pillows. You're going to have to wash your pillowcases and your blankets. And then you're just going to curl up and fall asleep for hours on end. And you have to be careful. This is very important. Don't get dehydrated. I've been there. I've done it. It sucks. My husband went out and got me Pedialyte. He got me the plain. Okay, it's just gross. All right, it has the weirdest texture ever. But I happen to have powdered Gatorade in the house, the lemon lime, and I would make a drink with the Pedialyte and the powdered Gatorade, and that helped me so much. Um, all I can tell you is this is not a joke. This is bad and scary because all you can think of is all the people who are dead. And are you going to be one of them? And maybe you are going to be lucky and you're asymptomatic. And I got to be honest with you, I wish I'd gotten that lucky, but I didn't. I instead hit almost every single box. And it's bad. I mean, I've had surgery for an exploded cyst on my ovary, and there are days that it has been worse than the pain I felt with that. All I can tell you is don't play with it, okay? The other thing, and this is what one of the nurses told me, and I'm trying to get the word out. Your mask is great. Wearing gloves, yay team. Get yourself some covering for your eyes. I got goggles that seal around my eyes now, so that when I do go back out in the world, um, my eyes are protected because I told her straight up. I mean, I never go out without my mask. I had gloves on because I have a skin condition. I have some eczema, and my hands would crack, and I didn't want to get it in my via that way. So I always had my rubber gloves on. And she goes, "Did you have glasses on? Or some sort of eye protector or the face shields like the nurses are wearing?" And I said, "No. Nobody told me to get eye protection. Why would I go and get eye protection?" And she said, "You get eye covering and you get it as soon as you can." She goes, "That's how people are catching it." She goes, "You were doing everything right and it still caught you." And I'm like, why wasn't this included in the, you know, because it wasn't. I'm trying to tell you to wear your masks, wear your gloves, get your eye covering. And if you've already got it, don't play. Keep yourself calm. There's a lot of delivery places that bring you food. Eat. You have to eat at least once a day. I know that sounds, what do you mean only once a day? You're so tired after you've eaten that you go back to sleep immediately. Um, if you start getting really painful leg stuff, aspirin, okay, Aleve, Motrin, whichever is your preferable drug of choice. If your head's just pounding like a freight train, the Excedrin tension headache. Um, but get yourself some meds, okay? Because they're not telling us what to take. And they're leaving us to our own devices. Well, that's not good enough. So I'm telling you what I did so that it maybe will help somebody. But I am not a doctor. So you check with your doctor before you do anything, all right? But I'm going to tell you right now, the Pepto-Bismols have saved me in a way I had no idea, because they did so much good. After I started taking the Peptos is when I starting to feel better. It took over a week for me to even remotely not be curled up into a ball crying. I want you all to be safe. And that's about it. Be well. And let's get through this together. I love y'all. Bye-bye.